Pay Solutions. I want to thank you for your patience today and let you know that we have a lovely webinar for you. Ginny Victory is on the line with me this morning and this afternoon. And Ginny, thank you for your patience in beginning this, and just wanted to let everybody know that we are now commencing the broadcast. So, Ginny, I apologize. My introduction for you is on another page, and I'm not going to be able to see it. I'm going to invite you to introduce yourself today, if you wouldn't mind. And then you just tell me exactly when you want me to switch over, and I'll manage the questions and chat from the other side.
Okay. So I will grab that intro and just kind of scan through that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so thank you, Ms. Carol. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here, and it's an honor to be a part of the Practice Pay Solutions Business Mastery Series as well. And I'm a longstanding customer and really enjoy the service, both with the, the actual service, the autoresponders and such, and the shopping cart as well. So I'm really pleased to be a part of this and supporting Practice Pay Solutions too. So if you, let's see, how should we do this?
Well, tell us a little bit about you, Ginny. How did you get started with this?
Okay, so I actually got started with this through my own journey. I started off with the with external expectations being what drove my course. So I went to school and got a CPA, got an accounting degree and got into public accounting and have my CPA, and was really burning out, and through a number of twists and turns ended up as a coach, and I'm in the right place. And I'm in the right place now because that lines up with who I am on the inside. It lines up with my I am stamp. And so it's been through my own journey of discovering that my own victory begins within even embracing my own last name and making it a part of, my business has been a part of that process, that's been a gift as well, and that everything we need we've been given within our soul, and that's how we end up being successful in all areas of our business and life.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Ginny. So, and just if you just want to say next slide, I will be prepared to move ahead for you.
Great. So why don't we go to that next slide, because the next slide does actually show the bio, and it will actually give us some takeaways too.
Okay. All right.
I think so.
Sorry. Let me get to that.
Okay.
Okay, now, why are we not doing that? There we go. We really are having our challenges. I completely apologize. There we are. That's the button that I wanted. There. That's it. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Okay, so you can see the twists and turns here at the top of the page, right? I've been a CPA in public accounting. I've been in human resources. I'm a Pilates instructor and also a coach, a certified coach, and now what I have termed master the fine art of business coach, because of what I want for people to do is take the left brain MBA kinds of teachings, right? I got the CPA, the engineering degree, the left brain MBA pieces that we need to run a business, and really filter them through who you are at the core, so that, right, the fine art of who you are at the core, so that you implement who you are into your life and business so that it's sustainable for you, because really trying to do that in a way that someone outside or in a left brain way when you're a right brain creative really makes it very challenging to sustain it, and then you also end up, kind of compounding negative mindsets, or what I consider lies or fib leaves, which then continues to further block you. So, right, so that's why I have this approach around lies and truths, and so you can see that what we're going to talk about today are the 8 lies. I'll tell you what the truths are, I'll tell you what the strategies are, and then with whatever time we have, we'll kind of talk through a little mini strategic plan with one or two of the truths and some of the tips with one or two of the strategies. And then that way people can really understand how they can do it for themselves with the free giveaway I have on my website, so that people learn how to leverage the powerhouse that's inside of them, inside their own core, to be able to make those quantum leaps, especially since we're right at the end of the year and we're getting ready for a new year.
Excellent. Thank you. And I think we'll move ahead. Ginny, this is what your mentor said about you. Is that right?
Yes, she did. Yes. And clients often say that too. There's the sanctuary piece and the strategy piece, both that equals freedom.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to say in our previous conversation, these were the questions that you presented to me. And when I was reading them through, what I found is there was one that jumped out. Is that how you approach it, Ginny?
Yes. These questions are the questions that people usually have, and they're tied to the lies, the 8 lies, and I'll show you that shortly. But yes, there's usually one question or a series of questions that that a client will have that really kind of socks them in the gut. And sometimes there's one that's really repulsive. They just can't be with the question, or sometimes there's like a hint of a number of them. But usually there's a strong reaction one way or the other.
Right.
Like you had.
Definitely. Okay, we'll move ahead.
Yeah, let's stop here real quick, just so that people can track with detail.
Definitely.
On my website, there's a place right at the top to sign up for the audio and PDF of the 8 Lies, 8 Truths. And so then that way people can get the PDF and the audiobook, show all the lies, some details around the lies, like some behaviors and actions that there are patterns that are typical around your life and business activities that are associated with the lies. It gives each of the core truths, and then it gives some of the tips from the core strategies. And so then that way people have all of that detail, and they can either take a look at that while we're going through this, or they can get that later. But either way, they'll know that the detail of what we're going to have here is, or at least those pieces will be there for reference to create their own strategic plan.
Right. So they can follow along with us on this webinar, and they can also get that information from the audio and the PDF on your website.
Yes.
Fabulous. Okay. Here we go. So for this slide, sorry, Ginny, for this slide, just these are the lies, right?
They are, yes. Yep. So the questions that we asked earlier, are you someone who gets stuck making decisions, really wanting to make sure it's the right one, or the one based on research, or the smart one? So then if you really get stuck there, then you would be believing a lie that there is only one right decision, and you have to figure out what that one right decision is before you can proceed. Mm-hmm. And that's often one of the reasons why people get stuck, is because they're looking for that right decision, especially people who are a little bit more left brain. They really want that right, sort of like that precise, algorithm kind of decision. Right. Yeah, or other people just want the approval. I got to make sure that I have the right decision so I don't make any mistakes, which then ties into lie number 2, which is once you determine your vision, the path is smooth. And the path, is not smooth. It's got detours and loopy-loops and drama triangles and all kinds of things going on with it. And what I find I find two things fascinating. One, that once people figure out who they are at their core, their vision usually clarifies, or in other words, changes. And that the path, people usually ask for clarity because they want a smooth path, and they're looking for the how-to that's going to be perfect or right, rather than really allowing whatever is coming to them to be an opportunity and like a leverage point to really move them forward.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then line number 3 is around balance. So some people consider it selfish to take care of themselves, and some people just are very pragmatic and just have a lot on their plate and have a lot of responsibility, and sometimes have 12 different plates going at the same time. This slide really, is about integrating your life and yourself and your health and a number of things into your strategic plan and your financial plan, so that you have the whole picture, one integrated picture, right, from your core in one place, so that you do have balance.
Right.
And then line number 4 about measuring up, right, this is about getting an A+, or getting the right answer, and that can often cause people to either strive and overproduce and give away too much, or to procrastinate and shut down.
Right.
Yeah. And then line number 5 is a biggie. This is the one that most people select, that you should be able to do it all yourself. So if you can, if you're capable, and we all are, because we all have the capability and the capacity to do it yourself, then you should. And so this one is a number 1 issue for most entrepreneurs. Trying to learn to delegate and set up systems, policies, and procedures is a really challenging thing, both to be able to let go and to be able to figure out who to trust. So we have the Mastering the Fine Art of Business program for just such things, so I can teach people how to, learn how to do that in a way that's custom to them. And then line number 6 is being nice or good is key to success, and this is around voice. So, it doesn't matter whether you're one of those very driven people, or you're a little bit more of a compassionate person. Everybody has a hard time with communication, and we're all concerned about how we're viewed and how we impact other people. And so we often either, most people hold back in some way and are not authentic here, and really unleashing your voice, not only in words, but in your brand and your messaging and all of your quirkiness is really, really important to be able to allow flow and creativity and opportunity to happen. And then number 7, you're greedy or self-absorbed if you receive. Especially creatives and social entrepreneurs believe this, and this is really challenging because this is around networking and marketing, and Live 7 and 8 are around networking and marketing and sales, revenue generation. And so if this is something you believe, you have a really altruistic heart, it can be very challenging to figure out how to price and generate revenue, close and create sales. So really understanding about reciprocity and the flow of things is part of what we address here, and when we talk about mission and purpose here, so 7 and 8. And 8 is a particularly sort of painful one, that you'll be exposed as a fraud or a failure or judged. And the truth is that this one is actually the number 1 lie. It's just that most people are ashamed to admit it. So number 5 is the easier one to admit, but this is the thing. Like, most people are really uncomfortable with who they really are. Their authentic, quirky selves is one of the most common questions I get is, well, if I figure out who I am at the core, what if I don't like her? What if I don't like him? And everybody ends up really coming to accept and appreciate who they are and really experiencing that power, but it's really, that's a quantum leap in and of itself. So
it is, isn't it? That is the biggie for sure. Definitely. Okay. Ready for the next slide?
Yes.
Okay. So yes, we are all looking for the answer. And Ginny, when you and I were having this conversation, we were saying how much it is we are looking for it out there.
Yes. I mean, I really think we're taught that. You know, we're taught to get approval, direction, grades, all that kind of thing from outside of ourselves. And then as we become adults and responsible for ourselves, we haven't really been taught to go on the inside and really trust who we are in our core. So, so therefore we get kind of stuck around looking for that quick fix or that solution out there.
Yes. And so how do we get to that? What does your program do for us to get us back into that core where the solution is?
Yeah. Let's go to the next slide, if you would.
Okay. Absolutely.
And actually, let's jump. Let's see. I might want to jump 2 slides, and then I'll come back to the next one.
Okay. This one?
Just for the sake of time. Yep, go to the eyeball. Yep.
Perfect.
So just for the sake of time, like, I'll show the bigger picture. So this is what I call the core connection diagram, and it's based on the premise and the promise that your victory begins within. And you can see it looks like an eyeball. You know, from if you kind of stand back away from it, it has the impression of an eyeball. And so this is how I do strategic planning with entrepreneurs, that we first start here within the octagon. And these are the core truths. So the I am stamp, the soul print, this essence of who you are, and then these 8 facets of who you are, these 8 truths within that octagon. Those are the 8 truths. So your values, your strengths, your needs, your purpose, your mission. You know, sometimes we know those things, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we've done work here, there, and everywhere. We need to pull them together. And once we get them in one place, in one strategic plan, then we can go out and take a look at the bigger picture. Okay, what is our vision? Let's look at these different areas of our business: sales and marketing, team, network, finances, business model. Let's look at the different areas of our life: significant other, leisure, environment. What location are we living in? What's our philanthropy look like? Right, all those little rays that come off of the pupil of the eye. So we do that vision piece next, and then we do the action plan then based on these 8 core strategies which surround the core truths, right, that surround that little octagon on the inside of the circle. So these items, you know, are kind of written in my language, but they're around decision making and communication and organizational structure and sales and marketing. So those are the MBA pieces, but we do them from a fine art standpoint, the fine art of you. So that's how we get Mastering the Fine Art of Business program, to be able to come up with your strategic plan and get it implemented the way you want it.
Right. Sorry, did you want me to go back a slide, or?
No, go ahead and keep going.
Okay. Okay. Just an understanding of how other people have found this, right? This is a testimonial from one of your clients.
It is. This is.
It really. Sorry, you go ahead.
No, you go, Carol.
Well, I was just going to say this ties what you were saying about the MBA, which is the tangible with the intangible, doesn't it?
Yes.
Puts the 2 pieces together.
Yeah, and life and business, both. So you have a whole integrated life, integrated plan, integrated results. You know, you don't have to sacrifice one for the other, or yourself for any of the above.
Right. Good point. Okay. And move ahead.
Sure.
Okay.
So now if you go one more, it will show, right, here's the eyeball diagram, and then it shows the impact of the lies.
Yes. Okay. Well, I know that when you and I looked at this before, I really got an impression about how disruptive it is, how much it does. It kind of gives an aggravated image of the eyeball.
Yes, and I like that aggravated image. Yeah, it really does. It is aggravating.
Yeah.
And it does distort the image both. I mean, if we think of ourselves as a fine work of art, then somehow the art has been marred or damaged or covered up in some way. And you can see that it covers up the core truth and the strategies, and starts to block and impact the results that you want out in your business and in your life. So they are quite disruptive.
Right. So each of those lies impacts one of those areas, right?
Yes, and so that's why we have the numbers circling around the red circle. So the red circle is your core, and that's my Pilates instructor background in terms of like the core muscles of who you are. You need your muscle structure help you have flexibility and mobility and productivity. Well, same with your soul. The core of you at your soul helps you have those same things, the results, the victories you want in your life and business. And so each one of those lies then, right, you can see that lie number, if we go back to the previous slide, the numbers are around that circle. And yeah, and so then lie 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cover up each one of those areas of who you are. And then the biggie about the answers out there covers up the I am stamp, covers up the essence of who you are.
Right.
And if we go forward again, Carol,
yes,
right, then, yeah, then each lie covers up the truth. Like lie number 1 covers up your whole being intellect, how you're naturally wired to do things and to make decisions, so that you're not able to trust yourself, and then you don't end up with the decisions that are best for you in your business and life.
Right. Right. It impacts everything. There's no doubt about it. When you have that lie as the undercurrent or under the foundation of your business or your life, it definitely impacts all of those areas. Absolutely. Okay. Move ahead.
So from here, I think what we're going to want to do is let's leave it here for a moment.
Okay.
And let's just see if someone has a lie that really, or one of the questions really struck them, or one of the lies was really a particular challenge or repulsive, and go from there.
So if you found that one of those things has impacted you and you have a question about it, please just post it in the question box. And other than that, I can certainly assist. So let's just open it for opportunity. I'm just reading here. Cynthia.
And I have client examples too if we need them. So.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So Cynthia asked about the eyeball.
Okay.
She said that certainly had an impact for her. And Cynthia, I can just unmute your line, Cynthia, if you don't mind, if you have another question. Cynthia, I've unmuted your line. Do you want to just say a little bit more about that?
No, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Oh, wonderful. No, I think it's brilliant the way the lies are matched up with the impact and the parts of the life that they impact. I was just wondering if there was a way we could, mention of the PDF was mentioned early on. And I did go to the website and there seems to be only the audio version. I was wondering if a PDF might be available. Just the visual of what we're looking at, because there's a lot here, obviously.
Yes, it's 9 months of content right here. So Cynthia, yes, if you go out to, you or anyone goes out to victorybeginswithin.com, and then you sign up for the you put in your name and email. Then, of course, that opt-in email goes, right, you have to go to your email account then and say, yes, I want to opt in. And from that opt-in, you should get both. You should get an autoresponder, and I think you should also get an immediate link to be able to go to the page that allows you to download the audio and the PDF both. They should both be on that page.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, Ginny, you know that when you and I had this conversation, it was definitely line number 8 that impacted me. Do you want to just work with that one? Would that be helpful?
Sure. If you wish to do that, I'm game to do that for sure.
I'm happy to take that on.
It's the biggie, so let's do it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so what was it about that, Carol, that was?
Well, certainly, here's a great example of it. I just, the lie is that I feel that I could be caught out as a fraud, or that I will be judged, right? And that's the impact of it. So that I need to make sure that I perform. So tell me how you would work with me, how to work with me with that being the lie that's kind of underlying my core.
Yeah, so I heard a couple things. You said something about performance, which starts to touch on line number 4, which is around measuring up. Yeah?
Yes.
Yes, she says, don't make me tell you what it is. It could also be sneaking over into line number 7 a little bit, where maybe you give away too much as well. And I just think I'm curious, Carol, about in what way. So I'm going to ask you to really expose yourself. I'm going to ask you to call yourself out. How are you afraid of being exposed?
Well, I guess that as the audience may not know, but I'm a professional executive coach, and of course, always as a coach, I want to be the person who has the answers, because that's what I should be in order to ask the questions so that my clients have the answers. So I guess that being caught out would be that I really don't know, and being in a place of not knowing certainly gives me a little bit of insecurity. Perhaps that's what the best way to describe it.
Yeah, definitely. And so it does actually sound a little bit like lie 4, Carol. So let me test this with you, and you can tweak this according to whatever's true for you, okay?
Certainly.
So line number 4 is around measuring up. And you can see that the truth is values, and that the strategy is setting standards. And so, yeah, the interesting irony about this one is that we have this pressure, those of us that really struggle with this one around performance. Okay, I have to measure up, and there's this set of expectations, a set of standards, and so I have to meet that set of standards, and yet at the same time, I'm willing to settle for whatever. Right? So there's like a gap that gets created, which is one piece. Is that true for you, Carol?
That actually speaks really clearly.
Oh, that I felt that in my heart, Carol. That was like right in my heart.
Yes. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. And the juxtaposition of values and high standards in what I am approaching in my life.
Yeah, and then I also hear a second piece for you too, which is, again, the irony or the juxtaposition around line number 4, that, I mean, as a coach, if we're trained through an organization like the International Coach Federation, and I don't know, maybe you have been, maybe you haven't, but if it's through something like the International Coach Federation, then we're taught that we don't have the answers, and that our performance or our job really is to ask the questions. And so it's that juxtaposition again, where you feel the pressure to perform like you should have the answer and you should have the right question, and yet your job really is to just be curious and to be in the unknown, and to take your client there too. Is that close to that?
Yes, very much so. And yes, I am an ICF trained coach, so I know exactly that what I should always be in the curious and in the questioning. And yet there is that, like you said, it's an interesting kind of dichotomy that as a coach you're expected to be wise and have the answers, even if you're not giving them. You should know what they are.
Of course. You're the leader.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is that juxtaposition for sure.
Yeah. So there's a couple things, Carol, with this that I would help a client do or help you do in this situation. So there's one of the tips in the core strategy that helps overcome line number 8, which is know your value. One of the tips is let go of expectations and pedestals, and I'm going to use kind of a strong, kind of a harsh word here. I'm going to use a judgmental word.
Yes.
Know that everyone is a hypocrite, that we all have double standards, right? We all have like these things that irritate us about other people, and yet I do that, right? And I do the things that I don't want to do and don't do the things that I do want to do, you know? And that we actually all have skeletons in the closet. We all have flaws and we all have inconsistencies. And really from the standpoint of your purpose, and I would start to pull in some of your values, I'd probably pull in your strengths, actually would probably pull in your voice for you, Carol, and really help you find an approach for asking questions and maybe blending a little bit of consulting and mentoring in there so that you were articulating what you were doing and that you would feel like you were in integrity around being a coach, and that you would also be meeting your audience's expectations, because there's kind of like a contradiction in expectations with like the coaching industry and probably the environment that you're in. Is that true too?
Yeah. Yep, that's pretty good. Very good nailing there.
Right? So really trying to help you find voice, probably through your mission and purpose, to bridge those two arenas in a way that you feel like you're in integrity, so that you can expose yourself, right? You would do the exposing so you wouldn't be caught off guard or caught or reported or whatever, turned in some way.
Right, exactly. Okay.
Right?
Excellent
so you really
way to
rely
look
on
at
that.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
And so I want to emphasize, Carol, that allows you or anyone to really feel that strength on the inside, so that you have that buoyancy, that place to go back and lean into, like, here's the strength that I'm going to go back and stand on to be able to address this really legitimate concern that I have, the fear, right? So we're harnessing that fear, and we're creating a strategic plan around it.
Perfect. Okay. That's great. And so that then gives me something that I can count on when I bump up against that.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. All right. Now, how would you like to proceed? Should we just move ahead and see if there's any other questions, or is there more that you would like to expand upon on this one?
Yeah, let's check in on questions. Let's see what's out there. And then I can tie it together a little bit more in terms of a little mini strategic plan. We have that slide a couple.
We do. Okay.
Later. So.
Yeah, it just seems like it's just a little bit of housekeeping is in the questions, just about the administration of the opt-in email, but we'll deal with that at the end. So it doesn't look like there's any questions about my experience or what we're moving forwards in. So let's just move ahead.
Okay, great. So then maybe what we do is we just, if you maybe go to the next slide. There's a slide. We won't go through these, of course.
Okay.
And this data is all on the PDF, which we'll deal with, which we'll address with housekeeping later, so everyone can get a hold of that. But these slides show the core truth, which is one of the facets of your core, and it shows the strategies and some of the tips. So maybe what we do is we go down. Go ahead.
Well, do you want to go to the lie 8 or lie 4 that we were working with me?
Yeah, let's go to slide 4, I think, is the next one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is what you were saying. So the truth, the lie is that I have to measure up.
Yes.
And the truth is, as you said it, that I measure up as I am. So how do I get to these values, Ginny? What's the process that I should go through?
Okay. So there are a number of ways to get at your own values. And there are values assessments to go through. You can go at it from asking different questions like, what do I hate? I know it's a strong word, but starting with that kind of gets that guttural reaction to we can mine for the things that really matter to you, that are meaningful to you. We can do something around peak experiences. I mean, there's even sorting through mores and that, moral code too, because you're kind of touching on that piece a little bit with what you're concerned about. So we would really sort through those, figure out which values were really unique to you. And I usually have clients rewrite the values in their own quirky, unique voice, in your own, whatever that voice is for you. So, and also create new definitions. And then, so then that way, and also prioritize them, right? So determining, I just talked about determining. And then you'd prioritize your values and, it's okay. I'll wait. Here it is. Yep, that's okay. So then, so the values are used, for decision making, around hiring, selecting a mate, help you set culture, help you determine age-appropriate boundaries in your household, and they also help you measure up to who you are and what's important to you, and what your measuring stick is, what your own plumb line is.
Right.
And then they also help you, not settle either. That's what the decision-making and selection piece, that application piece. And so for you, Carol, we would help you figure out what your value system is, bridging the ICF core competencies and the corporate environment that you're in, and then finding a way to articulate that, right? Use your voice and articulate that maybe in your coaching contract, at the beginning of each conversation, or woven within the conversations, the coaching interactions that happen. So we would sort of set this value structure first, and then we would apply it in contracts and questions and conversation from there, which then just makes lie number 8, makes the whole fraud thing disappear, because you're standing on solid ground then.
Right. And the two just fit together so perfectly, don't they? Because if I'm honoring my values, as this one would have me, remind me of doing, then really I don't have to worry about being a fraud.
No.
Right.
You're honoring your own integrity. You can sleep at night.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. So we're just going to move through these ones just to show that these are the lies and the core truth. This is the information that's on the PDF that people will be receiving. So they'll have an opportunity to take a look at it on their own, as well as they have the opportunity to have a conversation with you. And this one that I've stopped at here, lie 8, that is the one that we were saying is kind of the overarching one that often catches us all in the pit of our stomach.
Yes. Yeah, and so, I talked about it specifically for you, and maybe what I'll do is talk about it a little bit more generically in terms of knowing your value. So my definition of purpose when I work with a client is it sort of colloquially, I call it your vibe. It's it's what you're putting out into the world. So are you putting out a vibe of power, of trust, of love, of positivity, or are you putting out a vibe of dissonance, concern, hiding in some way? So what vibe are you putting out in the world? And we all have this energy that we've been given that is tied with our I am stamp, right? Tied with this I am that is, beautiful, and it gets covered up by the lies, and so sometimes the energy can get wonky from the lies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so knowing your value, understanding that by your very existence, this vibe you've been given, this energy, this life force that you've been given has value, and having that as a given first, and really, like it says here in the third bullet point, gathering evidence that your vibe really does make a difference, and starting there for gathering that evidence so you start to become aware of, oh wow, what my existence matters. I'm making a difference by breathing, by being here.
Yeah.
And then you can separate it out with what your value is in the marketplace. This is especially challenging for women and creatives. Men don't always have as hard of a time with this, but particularly women and creatives, we have to separate out those two values. This is my value as a human being. Mm-hmm. Then I have all these other roles. I'm a mom, I'm a sister, I'm a business owner, and then I have these services and products that I offer in the marketplace, and this is separate from my existence and value as a human being. So when we start to do that, then we can start separating out things like hours for dollars or dollars for hours kind of thing, and you know what I mean? People can really start to understand the value of the results that they bring in the marketplace, because this other piece is already, this internal piece has been addressed.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Very much so. It's the internal work. It's what you said right at the very beginning. That it isn't out there, it's inside.
Yes. And then once you handle the inside, then you can go do the pricing and the packaging and the marketplace pieces in a much more authentic, much cleaner way that's not muddled up with the internal work or the internal mindset that can really muddy that up.
Right. Right. Awesome. And I know when we had our conversation last week, one of the things that what you had said to me, and I think it's so brilliant in the work that you're doing, is that many of us who are in this kind of an industry have done a lot of personal work. But what you're speaking of ties it all together, brings it into a workable.
Yes, brings it into one workable place, one workable plan, ties in the sacred and strategic, ties in the left and the right brain, the intuitive and the pragmatic, the life and the business. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Everything together, integrated.
Right. Fabulous. And I'm just going to move ahead to the next slide.
Go for it.
Okay. Here's another one that just someone who has gotten great value on that left brain side. This is the tangible.
Mm-hmm. Yep, at the top it's, yep.
And also, I like the bottom line there, more present, more peaceful, and joyful.
Yep.
Wonderful. Absolutely awesome. And so it really does begin within. That's the whole point that you're really stressing for us, that I really appreciate, is that this victory and your journey is starting from the inside.
Yeah, starting really down in your core, who you are as a soul, then checking in with your heart, your vision, your desires, then checking in with these mindsets, what's going on in my subconscious, and let's take a look at the neural pathways or the mindsets, the lies that are getting in the way. Let's take some action and create some new ones, some quantum leaps, and create some new ones that are aligned with who you really are, which is how you develop the beliefs, the truth beliefs, and then you end up with the results that you want in your life and your business.
Fabulous. Okay. I'm not sure what the next slide is. Shall I move ahead?
Go for it.
Okay. All right. Here we are. This is the information that we started with at the beginning. And Cynthia did have a question about that, and I just want to go back to it. And I'm sure that you can manage it at I'm sorry, Cynthia had just asked if we could show the eye again before we end, so we will definitely make sure we do that. And she also had said that her email did not arrive, so we just want to make sure the process is that they join by going to your website and sign up for the audio and the PDF, and then is something emailed back to them, correct?
Yep, that's correct. They'll get an autoresponder back that asks them to opt in, and then from the opt-in, right, it's permission to be put on the mailing list, and then they receive access, the link access to that page. Now, because it's a business email that it's coming from, it may have gone into spam. Sometimes it'll go into the spam folder, so you'll want to check there.
Right.
But it should be automatic, and if it doesn't work, even after that, Cynthia or anyone else, then there's an email for my executive assistant here shortly, and you can send an email to her, and we can help you personally to make sure you get that.
Okay. Perfect. Sorry, I just keep losing my forward motion here.
Actually, she wants to go back though. If you want to go back to the eyeball,
let's go back.
She wanted to go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm just going to open it up again, and certainly please put your hand up with that little thing if you have a question, or if you want to just type it into the box. If there's anything further that you wanted Ginny to go over with the eyeball. I love the image of it. It just really is the eyeball to the soul. Anything else that we can help with this?
I love that, Carol. Yep, the window to your soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And
we can go ahead and
just move ahead.
So,
okay.
Sure. At least Cynthia got to see it again. So.
Right. Okay. Now, where's my little?
That arrow down there somewhere.
There it is. I see it. Okay. All right. This is the Connect with Ginny piece.
Yes.
Tell us what you have available for us today.
Okay, sure. So I am delighted to offer 7 complimentary Own Your Victory sessions. So one of the key pieces around success is taking ownership, and so that's why we call them the Own Your Victory sessions. And so we have 7 of those available for anyone who wants to meet with me personally, and we can start to take a look at that eyeball diagram for you personally. We can take a look at which of the lies, you probably already know which ones are the ones that have you sniggled up and are blocking your progress in terms of what you want, the difference you want to make in your business and the life that you really dream of having. And so we can, get that game plan process started through those sessions. And so Teresa is my executive assistant, and so if you just email Teresa, Teresa, at GinnyVictory.com and let her know that you want one of those sessions, then we'll get that set up for you. And for those that listen later, we've held back 3 sessions as well for those of you who listen later, because we know that that's, one of the great opportunities is to be able to download this later, and we wanted to make sure that we reserve space and address those people too, and honor those people too. So we would love to hear from you. I would love to meet with you personally, so please take advantage of any one of those open Own Your Victory sessions.
Lovely, Ginny. Thank you, and I just want to thank you for your grace in the face of technical difficulties today in going through the slides, and with me making my way through them as well. And I just want to also open it up again if there's any other questions, anybody has anything directly for Ginny. And those who are listening to this as a recording, please know that there are some other sessions that Ginny has reserved for someone who is listening afterwards. And those who are on the line also will get this sent to them from Practice Pay Solutions, so you'll get a recording of it as well. And anybody who registered will. So let me just see if there's any other questions.
Yeah, while you check for questions, Carol, if we can move to the next slide, it'll show a quick high-level little action plan, because I really want to, the core connection has so much, the eyeball diagram has so much to it, and
yes.
it is such, it has such internal work that I want to try to make it tangible and practical too.
Yes, definitely. There, go ahead.
Yeah.
Nothing came up for questions, so go ahead.
Okay, great. So I want to, I'm watching the time too. I want to make sure we finish on time and honor people's time. And while we're waiting for questions, maybe I just give a client example here in terms of a little mini action plan.
Perfect.
Okay, great. So the way that I do strategic planning is, like I said, traditional strategic planning is around, doing this sort of formal assessment, where are you now, and SWOT analysis and all that kind of thing, and then visioning and milestones and goals, and then creating the action plan from there. And so I use the same 3-step template, and we use the core truths as a place to start, who you are and the mindsets aligned, and then we go with vision and decisions, and then we go into an action plan. So you can see that, that mini 3-step process here. And I just wanted to give the example of Lynn, one of my clients, who just she's in the one of the mastermind groups. She's in the Mastering the Fine Art of Business, one of the victory circles this year, and she had this great aha the other day, and created her own little mini strategic plan, out of this bigger eyeball that can be overwhelming, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she is in Portland, and she's in corporate right now, and she's in a high-level, very influential position, and she really, enjoys what she does. She enjoys the industry that she's in, and she's also incredibly busy, and probably moves at a pace that's not ideal for her, and she also feels like she misses out a lot on productivity and on life. And so she and her husband and her family have this dream to move to Costa Rica and do some nonprofit work there. They love the movie We Bought a Zoo, and they wanted, right? So they want to do something fun like that in Costa Rica. And so I keep reminding her, you're going to go to Costa Rica, and you will have a different lifestyle. You will experience more peace. You will have more happiness. You will be making a different kind of a difference. And you're still going to take your mindsets with you. And so you either have truth mindsets that are lined up with who you are at the core, or you're still running around like a chicken with your head cut off and not enjoying the whole reason that you moved to Costa Rica to begin with. Mm-hmm. So, right, so she, they've got this game plan to be there in 12 to 18 months, and they're really making significant progress on, location and property and finding a place for their 8-year-old to go to school and their 21-year-old to live with them as well. I mean, they really have some, tangible pieces in place. So she, through some other questions that I asked, discovered that the truth that she needs to believe is that presence, being fully present, is enough. Enough for productivity, and enough for making a difference, both. And that the decision that she needed to make, that she made that day, was to slow down so that she could start to have a Costa Rica lifestyle and presence now. And then we created action steps that she's going to put directly into her calendar around leisure activities and some whole being intellect pieces from another facet of her core that would really allow her to experience the moment and stay connected to her core in such a way that she could have that Costa Rica lifestyle now and really prepare herself for the impact and the legacy that she wants to leave for her family and the world.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I think the Costa Rica lifestyle while she's still in Portland.
He's still in Portland and still in corporate.
Wow, that's quite something. That's a great little strategy plan that comes out of this, and that's just wonderful. By looking at who she is and her values, taking those decisions into action. Awesome.
Calendaring them right into her day, and really committing to that, and some of the little tiny things that make a really huge difference, that really are quantum leaps.
Right.
She's made those commitments, and even just a few weeks later, she's far more productive in terms of her workload at work, and she's actually really enjoying her husband and her 8-year-old who live in the home with her a great deal more. So she really has both the tangible and the intangible again. So.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Ginny, and thank you again for your grace under pressure and your ability to be flexible with our circumstances, and for just providing this wonderful example of how you do your work. And I just want to remind everyone that to be in touch with Ginny, signing up with through Teresa at ginnyvictory.com, and also the Victory Begins Within website. Get the audio and the PDF sign up to go over all of this really dense information, and certainly please take advantage of those opportunities to work one-on-one with Ginny. I can attest that she works really well and is very insightful right to the core. So thank you so much, Ginny, and thank you to everyone who is listening. And on the behalf of Practice Pay Solutions, we hope that you have enjoyed this part of the Business Mastery series. Thank you so much. Bye for now.